Part the 5th. The French liver and its uses.
You know, this town was still called La Reine des Windows. That means the queen of the spas. And in Vichy came especially people having trouble with the leather, you know, that's typically French.
Our hero meets a typical French pork butcher and watches the seekers after good health in a town built upon water.
They come from all over the France, and during 3 weeks they drink water to the spring, and they go every morning to the bath to have either showers or either baths, you know. And some of them who have trouble with the rheumatism, they have also muds.
Sorry,
you know what means muds?
No.
It's written M-U-D-S.
Oh, mud.
Mud, you know,
yes.
It's a kind of health.
Yes,
very
that's
hot.
Right. Yes.
The French are funny about water. They drink it out of bottles, not out of taps, as is natural to mankind. Sometimes they say that it tastes nicer that way, which especially in France it probably does, and it sometimes fizzes too. But an examination of the labels on the supermarket shelves reveals the presence of a powerful folk myth centred on what the French call the lever. That is, as in lamb's lever, pork lever, etc. Perrier we know about even over here, but other waters include Source Badois, fights tooth decay, Contrexeville, with his diuretic action, Volvic, dissolves powdered milk perfectly, and Evian comes to you fresh from its long journey through the icy sands of the Alps, very light, recommended for pregnant women. In Vichy, of course, you don't need to go to a supermarket. The Hall of the Springs is open to you, and for less than 50p you can drink all the water you like. That's for one visit, of course. You can also get season tickets. I didn't have to pay anything, because I was with Dr. Jean-Louis Bourdier.
See, here is the water. Here is the water coming from 300 meters down. Volcanic water, you know. And this country, especially Auvergne, is well known for all the volcanoes you can find. We have 250 springs in this town. Different.
What is it about Vichy water, then, that makes it good for you? I mean, is it really good for you?
Of course it is. If you drink this water, it makes liver working more, and it takes off the fat from the liver, you know. It's a nation where people eat much, generally too much. And also it's a country where people drink much, and they have also sometimes the beginning of cirrhosis. They have trouble like diabetes, yes, and gout. That's why they come in Vichy.
They seem to be bourgeoisie. The self-indulgent sinners come to do penance at the fountain. Grey-faced people, pale-faced people, fat people, shuffling people. To them, one feels, belongs the fin de siècle charm of the park, with its little curly white chairs, the bandstand, the grand casino, and that slight astonishment of old age that young couples pass them by on their way to the Riverside Sports Stadium for tennis or canoeing, while they themselves have come to be somehow different.
How do you come to be a specialist in this sort of treatment?
Because I married the daughter of a specialist. That's the real way. You want I told you my story in 2 minutes. Well, I had a fantastic headache, you know, what we call migraine. That makes me a big trouble because I was working as a surgeon. And I came to Vichy because I heard that Vichy was good for migraine. And I see a doctor. He gave me water. I had never more any migraine.
That is extraordinary. I mean, you haven't had a single migraine since you came to Vichy?
Never more. And you know, I'm a gastronome, and I eat much, and everything with cream and with the spices, you know. And he had a nice daughter, you know. And you know, you know what happened. So, and when I married my wife, her father wanted to stop working, and now, I prescribe water, you know. I'm an ecologist. You know?
Really?
No drug, only water.
So here we are.
Hello, madam.
Don't forget you have an appointment at 3:15 with me today.
Can I have? What are you drinking?
Brandy.
Tell me, have you come from all the way from America?
I've been here for 50 years, son. 50 years I've been coming here, and this has been my doctrine. I haven't learned a lesson. What are you recording? What can I do?
You have been taking the waters for 50 years. What do they do for you?
Well, look at my age, and you should be as spry.
Might I ask you how old you are? Would that be impolite?
And it would be impolite if I said it's my birthday tomorrow. 74.
My
And
word.
you get my energy at 74, and you'll be all right, son.
Yes, I believe you. I
You're
believe
very
you.
gracious.
Yes,
You're very
indeed.
gracious.
What does it actually taste like? I
Yeah.
must try it.
Yeah, come here. I'll give you the glass.
Oh.
And I haven't had a venereal disease for 20 years, so you don't risk anything.
Ah, yes, it tastes like hot Vichy water.
Good for you. You've got a terrific sense of humor. You know?
Yes, thank you, mate.
Yeah.
You can lead an Englishman to mineral water, but you can't make him drink. A discreet sip of each, with a palate sensitized by a fortnight of French wine, revealed that all the dribbling taps had a different character. Célestin, the champagne of the waters available, a frisky little water, light and bubbly. Griette, cool, with an aniseedy sort of flavour, long in the mouth, should lay down well. Chaumel, full-bodied, warm and velvety, with a fine sulphurous bouquet and just a hint of bicarbonate of soda. There are unpleasant little plastic beakers from a vendor mat to drink from, though the aficionados carry a glass in a wicker case like a button-up wine cradle. But if your problems lie in the joints rather than in the liver, drinking is only part of the cure. The great hot water establishment, as I translate Le Grand Établissement Thermal, is a remarkable mixture of ancient and modern, with a computer to spit out your bill in the foyer and up-to-date physiotherapy in the heated pool, alongside rooms of wrought-iron engines out of the 19th century.
Mechanotherapy. It's a lot of machines that do movement, you know, for all joints. And some movements are for kidneys and some are for shoulders and elbows. On that floor, the machines are working and the patient is passive.
Yes.
And on the upper floor, the machines are passive and the patient is working. Come on and see.
A place of imperial flywheels and bright steel levers, and attached to them, human beings. It's Frankenstein's engine room. A Senegalese in blue pyjamas is being vibrated from the wrists, shaking like a dog out of water.
This machine is moving and giving to the man kind of a tremulation for all the muscles.
But these machines look like very old machines. I mean, they're made in wrought iron and they have beautifully carved wheels and things like that.
Yes, really, they are. I think it's the last one still working. When it stopped working, I think it must be sold on a Sotheby, no?
Sotheby's, yes, I think it would be, actually, yes.
And they stop the Senegalese and start somebody else.
You put the back here and the arms here, like this.
Yes.
That makes to make you breathing well, you know?
Yes.
The arms are going up and it's going in like this. It's a kind of, what did you say, torture? What would you say, torture? What did you
Torture.
mean? Torture, yes.
Yes.
No?
Yeah.
A suitable place for treatment, a gay holiday resort, Vichy is a town of contrasts. The sufferers from simple greed, crowding the many, many patisseries and bonbon shops, munching Vichy État, the local sweets, and the people who are really ill. I recall a pair of arthritic hands strapped to a wrist exercising machine, limp and white, going flip, flop, on yellow velvet cushions. And as I leave for the countryside of the Auvergne, the last picture is of that multitude of curly white iron chairs, primly taking the sun in the park, waiting to be sat upon by elderly bottoms. The river runs quick and clear alongside the valley road to Ambert, over rapids, over shallows, over waterfalls. No muddy river of the plains. This stream comes from the mountains.
Auvergne is said to be le château d'eau de la France. The château d'eau, castle of water. You know, when we keep water for whole towns, you have a lot of rivers starting from Massif Central and Auvergne particularly. And we say about Ambert, we say that it is a blue and green country. It's blue because of the mountains, you know, the mountains with the fir trees, and it's green because of the fields and the grass.
Beautiful, beautiful Auvergne. Rivers folding up into woods, folding up into pastures, a country in the sky, like the one Jack found at the top of the beanstalk. The songs of the Auvergne, in their own mysterious dialect, are the quintessence of the pastoral. How easy it is to romanticize landscape on a long summer day when the lane is scattered with little red cherries, the hedgerows are all wild marjoram with fragrant leaves and the pink flowers crawling with bees. Pictures of the countryside never have any nettles. But like the best wine, such a landscape grows from a stony soil. Little things show you. Most of the larks of the lowlands have gone, and hawks sailing over give you the reason why. The farmhouses and tumble-down cottages with ragged curtains are picturesque in June, but cold in December. As Auvergnat Georges Crouzet reminded me when I met him in the market town of Ambert, old ways of life are dying, though it's not the tourist for whom the bell tolls.
The highest mountains near here are about 1,500 meters high, covered with snow in winter, a lot of snow and a lot of wind, you know, and we have what we call congère. It's a sort of wall of snow, and it is very difficult to travel on the roads. A lot of people think that Auvergnats could be compared to the Scottish people. The Auvergnats don't want to spend money, they try to save as much money as they can. But I think the reason is that they live in a difficult country. They have to work a lot to earn some money, and so they don't like to spend it on foolish things. In some villages, they had no electricity until recently. They had no water in the house. They had to go to the well or something like that. They were used to living like that, and they didn't see any reason for changing. They can't accept all the sudden changes which have come.
Allez mesdames, faites travailler les jeunes, là, venez goûter le miel du pays. Ça engage à rien, vous savez.
But in Ambert market, they still take pride in the local honey and the charcuterie, pork products, and the soft blue-veined cheese called Forme d'Ambert, after the tall round mould in which it's made. And impassable though the roads may be in winter, in summer Georges Crouzet goes up into the mountains on his bike and becomes a tourist himself, just like me, which is lucky, because he's able to point out that my intended route goes right over the top of a whopping mountain, and wouldn't I prefer to go along the side instead?
So you go to Tonvik, and you take the D205, and then you go down to Vivrolles, Husson-en-Forêt, and Pont-en-Pérat. just for my pleasure and go cycling here. My doctor said, well, not too much, because I have some problems with my heart, but I really need it. You know, it's so marvelous to go in the mountains there on the bike. I think you really appreciate all the smells, the different smells, the grass which has just been cut, or the trees. You sometimes meet deer in the mountains, you know. Yeah. I really enjoy that.
But it's not deer he takes me to see next morning, and it's not on the hoof. It's pork, and it's hanging in the nearby sausage factory of Monsieur Bernard. Auvergne is famous for its hams and salamis, and Monsieur Bernard is a success story among local charcutiers, with a business that began as a one-man shop and is now an empire of white tiles and stainless steel machines worth many millions of francs. But the pork millionaire is still on the shop floor, in a long white apron that goes over one shoulder like a toga, working from 7:30 in the morning until 5 at night with the 16 other charcutiers, his hands chopping and mincing and going into the blood and the brine along with theirs. He says he likes it. It certainly must be a good outlet for the aggressions, wielding those long knives and choppers that have hollowed out the butcher's blocks with the death of 100,000 cuts, among great racks where the sides of pork hang like suits in a wardrobe, and long marble slabs, tombstones to 1,000,000 pigs.
Everything is used in the pork. Everything, from head to tail. Chops, hams, but with the ears you can make a pie.
On fait 60 tonnes par mois.
60 tons every month. 60 tons of meat every month.
The quantities are enough to make an entire piggery turn in its sty. Hundreds of hams lying cheek to cheek in tubs of salt and pepper and thyme. A mincer, taller than me, grinding out 100 pounds of sausage meat a minute, and 2 tons of sausages made in 1 hour.
Those saucissons are much bigger, you can see. These big ones, they are not very long, but they are round, rather big, and they are called Jésus.
Ça c'est de la rosette, ça.
And the rosette is very different. It's
Alors, quelle différence là?
much longer.
La différence, c'est le bouillon qui fait la différence.
Ah, c'est oui, là.
Et ça n'a pas du tout le même goût.
And the difference is due only to the casing, to the intestine of the animal. You know, you have big intestines which give Jésus, and small and long ones which give the rosette. And the taste is quite different. I suppose that the action of the air is different because one is big and the other is long.
In the old days, the rosette and the Jésus swung in farmhouse attics, dried and flavoured by the mountain winds whistling through the chinks. Now they string them up by the 100 on wooden frames in a drying room, like a sausage forest laden with fruit, blowing gently in the artificial breeze, as if the spirit of the pig still stirred within. And Monsieur Bernard's little son, who says that he too will be a charcutier when he grows up, ushers me along the rosy roads.
Jambon. Ah oui, ham.
Salé.
Oui, salé, salted, yes.
And he opens up the cold store for me.
Un mois, on me laisse.
It's like a back room in hell, with its dim yellow light shining over piles of dismembered sinners in plastic bags, and a great goat's head stuffed for some special dinner, eyeing me like Satan through the swirling mists. And I take to the mountains with a Jésus in my saddlebag, 13 miles to the Col de Chementron, over 3,000 feet up. But I'm surprised to find that this sort of long hill turns out to be tolerable going with 10 gears. The road winds up through pines and rocks along the course of a mountain stream, to another level of cloud-top land, so empty it feels medieval. And at last I sail over a rise at Vermeil, and there ahead are the real mountains, the volcanoes of the Auvergne, mist-shrouded in the distance, even in the sun, stretching away to the horizon like stage mountains, cutouts behind layers of gauze. And I thunder downhill, going round the hairpins like a runaway pram with the baby drunk in charge, into the valley of the Haute-Loire, whose stream is overlooked by the Château La Voûte Polignac, a stone fairy tale on a rock, and below the rock, a fisherman.
Ça, c'est gardon. C'est très bon, mais faut pas garder longtemps. Faut le manger comme par exemple aujourd'hui, demain.
Combien avez-vous pris? Vous l'avez compté?
Ah, combien il y en a? Ah, je sais pas. Je sais pas.
1, 2, 3.
Allez.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And we sit there on the grass beneath the fairy tale castle and count his catch, at peace with everything but the roach remaining in the river.
25.
25.
Parce qu'avant, je faisais beaucoup du vélo.
Vous faites le vélo?
Beaucoup.
Moi, je suis venu de Londres à vélo.
Oh.
And we talk about the time he cycled to Venice and crack a bottle of wine.
Bonne santé, hein?
And that was with over 600 miles on the clock on my 19th day of travelling. On the 20th, I would be in the south.